Good morning, students. Welcome back again. We were discussing chapter number 9, right? The name of the chapter was Forest and Wildlife Resources, right? The name of the chapter was Forest and Wildlife Resources. This chapter is, I said previously, is divided into two parts. First is the forest and second one is the wildlife resources, right? So what are the things that we have discussed earlier which were related to forest? First, that is classification of forest, right? We knew what forest is. Then we did classification of forest. Then the next topic that we did was types of forest. 3 types: reserved forest, protected forest and unclassified forest, right? Then we came to the new topic, that is classification of forest according to ownership, administration and management. I said that 2 points are totally different, right? These 2 points carries 3 points, but both the points are different, right? Again, it is divided into 3 points. First is the state forest, second is the community or the communal forest, and the third one, that is the private forest, right? Then we understood what deforestation is, right? What is deforestation? That is cutting of trees on a constant level, which leads to deforestation and imbalances the environment, right? Then we learned that is the impact of deforestation, right? What are the impacts of deforestation? Then we saw the remedies for forest conservation. What are the steps that we as the citizens of India plus the government needs to take to protect the forest, right? So we all saw the remedies for forest conservation. Next, that we saw in the previous session, that means the previous video, that is day before yesterday, right? That is wildlife diversity. Then we saw the wildlife on extinction, different types of wildlife and their biodiversity, different animals, birds and their different species, right? Then we understood that wildlife is on the extinction, that deforestation is being done on a constant level, so it is becoming difficult for the wild animals to stay in their wild place, that is the forest, that is their home, right? So we saw that is the wildlife on extinction. Then we saw the reasons for the destructions of wildlife, right? We also saw what are the reasons for the destruction of wildlife, right? And we stopped over there. We have discussed all these things, right? Now moving ahead with today's topic, right? That is the first concept, measures of prevention of wildlife, right? We are going to study the measures or to protect the wildlife. What are the steps that are need to be taken to protect the wildlife? Next, we are going to study different types of projects. We are going to study different types of projects, that is wildlife protection scheme. What is the wildlife protection schemes? It is for the wild animals. It is for the wild animals, right? So different names have been given. Tiger project, elephant project, rhino project, crocodile project, vulture project, snow leopard project, etc. Right? All these schemes or projects are been there with special names of the animals, right? With special names of the animals. Special care is to be taken specially for this kind of animals because they are very less in number. So special project or the individual name of the project has been given, that is tiger, elephant, rhino, vulture and the different types of projects. That is what we are going to study next. And the last topic of this chapter will be sanctuaries, national park and bioreserves. This is the last topic for this chapter. So we'll try to finish all these 3 topics in today's session, right? So I advise all the students to take out your textbook, that is on page number 69. Page number 69, right? That is measures of preservation of wildlife, right? What are the steps or measures that needs to be taken, right, for the preservation of wildlife? Point number 1. It is necessary to change our attitude and perception towards the forest. We consider it as a source of unlimited income, which is a mistake. It must be preserved. Only then the natural habitats for wildlife can be saved. This is the first thing that we as the humans needs to understand, right? Certain people consider forest as a source of income, because many things are available from the forest: wood, trees, plants, animals, the skin of the animals, the bones of the animals, the teeth of elephants, and many more things, right? So there are certain people who are considering forest as a source of income because they think that it is an unlimited source. No, it's not an unlimited source. It's a resource which is limited, and if you constantly cut down the trees, that is deforestation, right? At certain point of time, this resources will not be available. So we need to change our attitude, our thinking towards this concept. That is the first step or measure that we need to take, right? Second point. Maintain the balance of number between the herbivorous and the carnivorous in the forest. Herbivorous and the carnivorous. Carnivorous એટલે જે માંસાહારી હોય ને, right? That kind of things, right? Herbivorous એવા ના. હવે એ બંને વચ્ચે, between these two different species of the animals, there must be a balance. Food chain, remember? Food chain હોય, right? That kind of thing, right? It needs to be balanced. Right? In the forest. કારણ કે ઘણી બધી વાર, right, forest ની અંદર herbivores ના killings વધારે થઈ જતા હોય, certain months ની અંદર carnivorous animals જોવા મળતા હોય તો એનું killing વધારે થઈ જતું હોય, right? And it imbalances in the forest, right? So a proper balance should be maintained between these two species of the animals living in the forest, right? For this, steps like maintaining the water resource, that is the water sources in the forest, and restrictions on grazing of domestic animals should be taken, right? Certain areas should always be preserved in the forest. No humans or no other animals, right, allowed to be grazed in that territory or in that area. Government need to take certain actions to preserve this forest. Certain restrictions or certain boundaries should be made in the forest. That this is the limit. You cannot cross this area and go inside in the forest. Maybe for hunting, maybe for researching, maybe for grazing of animals of the people who are living in the nearby forest area. Nothing should be allowed. It should be strictly prohibited. Then only those animals living in this forest, in that deep forest area, will be protected. Why I am saying this? Because it is the human tendency. If we go inside that territory or inside that area, obviously we are going to keep weapons with us because we know it's a jungle, it's a forest, and obviously there are a lot of chances that wild animals are going to attack on us. So in our self-defense, we are going to kill them through a gun or through any weapon, right? So obviously their numbers is going to decrease, right? So this is what it is. Make certain restrictions, make certain boundaries or territories in which no humans or other animals, right, which are living in the nearby villages of the forest, should be allowed even for the grazing purpose. Strict prohibition on that area. So that is the second measure that we need to take for the preservation of wildlife. Next, point number 3. There should be strict laws to ban hunting. So this is what I have said, right? Obviously in our self-defense, we are going to kill those animals, right, if we go deep inside that particular territory. So this is the third concept. There should be a strict law to ban the hunting, right? Hunting should be banned. In the previous years, right, kings used to go in the forest and used to kill the tigers and elephants and lions and cheetahs and deers and many things, right? No restrictions were there. So strict laws should be there to ban the hunting, right? We know that case also, right? One Bollywood actor, I don't want to say the name, but you know that the case, what happened, right? And it took a lot of years, right? All these things represents the negative side of the society, right? We should not do any kind of harm to the animals, right? Those laws should be implemented very harshly, right? Punishable laws. If anyone does this kind of act, right, or if anyone goes against the law, it should be strictly punishable. Heavy punishment should be inflicted for illegal mining in the forest area, and fine should be imposed, right? Illegal mining, right? Illegal collection of woods and other things and other resources from the forest, right? They take it away very easily with a because it is a free gift of nature through resource. They take it, they put it into the vehicles, that is the transportation vehicles in trucks or any other sources, and goes into the city and sell them. Right? All this illegal mining activity, that is the transportation activity, should be stopped, right, by the government. Right? Next, it is necessary to make such arrangements which should not disturb the animals during their proactive period. Right? Certain special cares need to be taken during their proactive period. That means when they are growing. When they are growing, certain restrictions should be there, and those animals should be, securely placed in the forest area during their proactive period. Right? When they are growing, when there are small cubs, and when they are developing themselves. Right? At that point of time, special care is needed to be taken. Okay, nana hoy dhime dhime develop thata hoy. Right? So that is the increase in number of that wild animals. And if the mother and the father, right, of any wild, maybe lion or tiger or a leopard, right, and if you go inside their territory, obviously they'll think that they are here to take my cubs, and they attack us, right? And in response, even we will kill them with our weapons, right? All these things should not be done, right? So during their proactive period, special care needs to be taken for the wildlife, right? Next, a study should be made about the likely effects of fisheries, forest gatherings on tourism in the forest, and steps should be taken accordingly, right? A study should be made, a special study should be made about the effects of fisheries, forest gatherings or tourism in the forest, right? ઘણા લોકો tourism કરી નાખે forest ની અંદર, forest માં જઈને કહેવાય ને પેલા villas અને મોટી મોટા resorts ખોલી નાખે and all that kind of things, right? Where there is a lot of peace and people would love to go in that place and stay in that area, right? And this concept is increasing day by day, right? હવે લોકો ફોરેસ્ટ ની અંદર રહેવા માંડશે ને કહેવાય ને મોટા મોટા villas અને resorts બનાવી નાખશે. Certain point of time, right, there would be villas and tourism place in that forest. So where will the wild animals go? Right? You are taking their home from their place, and you are making certain things, right? You are creating a place in the forest which is known as the tourism place, right? And it changes the picture of the forest. Fisheries, right? Lot of fish are being taken from the seas or from the rivers, right? So even their number is constantly decreasing, right? So a kind of a research should be done, right? Whether we are not disturbing this wild resources, right? A study should be created and should be analyzed, right? And it should be published that if we are not stopping this activity now, or maybe by 5 years or 10 years or 20 years down the line, right, it will affect the wild resources, right? So even the public will have the idea that what to do and what not to do, right? Next, programs should be arranged to bring widespread awareness in the society. Different programs obviously should be done so that the people who are living in the society will have the knowledge about the wildlife resources, right? This is a kind of a program that is going on right now. The live lecture, I am sharing the information with you, you are getting the knowledge of the wildlife resources, birds and sanctuaries and national parks and different types of projects that you are going to study. What is this? This is a message that I am spreading what has been given in the textbook, and so you as a part of the society, you are living in different areas in different societies, right? So this message has been spread as a part of the educational purpose, right? So you are getting the knowledge. So this activity should be spreaded more in the society, so that the other people who are not aware of it, right, even they will have the knowledge. So all these activities should be, encouraged or motivated, so the wildlife resources are being protected, right? Because they play an important role in our environment, right? Next, if the wildlife protection force is inactive, if the wildlife protection force, that means those people who are protecting the wildlife, is inactive, that means if they are not active, right, then pressure should be brought on them, and this work should be given the priority, right? Pressure should be created on such government employees who are not giving it as a priority concern, and special kind of pressure or should be brought on them, and this work should be given the priority. Certain departmental officers of forest, right, they are very lazy because they don't care. Even if the wild animals die, or even if they are being hunted, or even if their body parts are being taken to the other places and being sold, because they are neither concerned with them, they are only concerned with the money. That is the corruption. You give me 50,000, 1 lakh rupees for an example, and I'll allow you to go into the forest and hunt the wild animals. Lot of these negative effects or the elements are there in this society, which creates an imbalance in the wildlife resources. So those people who are lazy, right, and they are not active in this kind of things for the protection of wildlife, right, they should be pressurized, and strict action should be taken on such type of officers, right. એ લોકો એવું વિચારતા હોય કે ભાઈ ફોરેસ્ટ છે, અહીંયા કોણ જોવા આવવાનું છે, કોણ ચેક કરવાનું છે. બે ચાર એવા હન્ટર્સ છે જે મને એવરી મંથ 50,000, 1 lakh rupees આપે છે, હું એમને ચાલવાનું એલાઉ કરી દઈશ ફોરેસ્ટની અંદર. They will kill the wild animals, they will take them, right, and I am getting 1 lakh rupees. Who cares? Who knows? The જંગલમાં શું થયું, ફોરેસ્ટમાં શું થયું, right? All these things are being there. So the officers who are there, especially for the protection of wildlife, they should be pressurized, or special actions need to be taken on them for the protection of wildlife, right? So these are the steps that we need to take for preservation of wildlife resources. I hope all the points are clear. Moving ahead, things to know. Now there are many things in this particular chapter where the concept is things to know, right? It is almost 2% of probability, right, that from the board exam this concept can be asked, right? As the things to know che, that is for the general knowledge. So you will have a better idea what it is, right? But 98%, right, these concepts are not being asked in the exam, right? These concepts are not being asked in the exam, right? As a part of this particular study, we are going to read it, right? Ganga River dolphin, that is Platanista gangetica or Platanista gangetica, right? This Ganga River dolphin is found in river Brahmaputra, and Ganga is a freshwater species, right? આ એક જે ડોલ્ફિન છે એ રિવરમાં ફાઇન્ડ થાય છે, which is in Brahmaputra and in the river Ganga, which is a freshwater species. Generally, it lives in the river having deep and calm water flow. ઉપર જેટલો નદીનો ફ્લો હોય ને, જેટલો સ્પીડમાં, નીચે નદીની અંદર deep inside એટલું જ શાંત હોય, right? So this kind of species is being found in the river deep inside the particular bottom level of the river, right? It is found in the Ganga River, which flows through one of the densely populated regions of the world. Due to the release of dirty water in the river, sedimentation due to deforestation, fisheries, navigation in the river, industrial waste, etc., danger has been created against its existence, right? હવે જે નદીનું પાણી હોય, that is the purest form of water, right? સૌથી ચોખ્ખું પાણી માનવામાં આવે નદી, right? હવે એની અંદર ઘણા બધા કહેવાય ને waste, that is the industrial waste, navigation in the river, એનો મોડ ચેન્જ કરી નાખે નદીનો, right? Deforestation થઈ જાય એટલે too much of temperature which creates dryness in the rivers, right? Fisheries, જે fish હોય નદીની અંદર, એમાં fisheries, જે fish લોકો જે હોય એ લઈ લે અને બિઝનેસ કરતા હોય ફિશનો, ફિશરીઝનો, રાઈટ? આ બધું શું છે? ઇમ્બેલેન્સિંગ ધી એન્વાયરમેન્ટ, અને આ ડોલ્ફિનની જે સ્પીસી છે, the image has been given in the textbook, right? They are very rare in numbers right now. They are very rare in the numbers right now because of all these things. And one of the most dangerous thing is the industrial waste. એ જે કેમિકલ વાળું પાણી હોય, રાઈટ, એ બધું એમાં મિક્સ થઈ જાય, રાઈટ? એટલે જે વાઇલ્ડ એનિમલ્સ, રાઈટ, જે પાણી પીતા હોય, અથવા જે ફિશ છે, ફિશરીઝ છે, ડોલ્ફિન્સ છે, and other creatures which are in the water, right, it is very dangerous for them to survive in this type of water, right? Apart from Ganga and Brahmaputra river, there are few such dolphins left in Chambal river. It comes to the surface very often to breathe making a su like sound, right? So it is also known by the other names like swans, suzu or suis. It is also found in the river of our neighbors, that is in Nepal and Bangladesh. At present, the existence of Ganga river dolphin is in danger, right? This type of dolphin which has been given as an image in this textbook is in danger. Their existence or their species are very less in number. Right? So this is just a thing to know, right? It is for the general knowledge of the concept, right? 98% of the probability won't be asked in the exam, right? कदाच पूछा है तो a dolphin विषय पूछा है, which river? So you must know that is Brahmaputra and the Ganga river, right? And this type of species are being again found in the neighboring countries, that is in Nepal and Bangladesh, right? So you can remember like this. Moving ahead. Wildlife protection scheme. Now we are going to study the new topic, that is the wildlife protection scheme. There are certain points or the projects which are being given, right? And we are going to study each and every concept in detail. The first concept, that is the tiger project, right? આમાં ઘણી બધી વસ્તુ અંડરલાઈન કરવાની આવશે, right? ખાસ ધ્યાન રાખજો, જ્યાં નંબર્સ હશે એ બધી વસ્તુ ઓટોમેટિકલી તમારે અંડરલાઈન કરવાની રહેશે, right? Where there are numbers. As per one estimate, there were more than 40,000 tigers in India. એક સમયે ઇન્ડિયાની અંદર 40,000 કરતા વધારે ટાઈગર્સ હતા, right? In the beginning of 20th century, due to unrestricted illegal hunting and deforestation, there was a big danger for the existence of tiger. પહેલા કોઈ જેવા laws, rules and regulations હતા નહીં. લોકો freely forest ની અંદર જઈ animals ને hunt કરી એમના parts, that is the teeth and the skin and other things, right? They used to take it and easily sell it in the open market, right? Deforestation એટલું થતું, and because of this the existence of tiger came into danger, right? In such circumstances, this project to save the tiger that was started in the year 1971. Under the project, a series of steps have been taken to keep their natural habitat protected. एक बार मैं तुमने previous session में tigers નું કીધું હતું, right? There were less than 1200 tigers in India, right? તો અહીંયા તમે નંબર જુઓ, it is 40,000, right? એક સમય એવો હતો, right? ઇન્ડિયામાં 40,000 કરતા વધારે tigers હતા. And recently, right, before 5, 10, 20 years back down the line, there were less than 1,200 tigers in India. So you can imagine the amount of tigers which were being killed, right? અને એનું જે સ્કિન છે, એના જે ટીથ છે, રાઈટ, એના જે જોસ છે, રાઈટ, એ બધા લાખો રૂપિયામાં વેચાય છે in the market, right? So special steps were taken in the year 1971 to protect their habitats, and that means the next generation, the cubs, right? To keep this tiger alive, because tiger is the national animal, right? And to maintain the ecological balance at the national level. Till now, this project is implemented in about 44 regions. આ જે પ્રોજેક્ટ છે એ આખા ઇન્ડિયામાં 44 અલગ-અલગ રિજિયન્સમાં આપેલો છે to save the tiger, right? Moving ahead. Leopard belongs to a cat family. It holds smaller stature compared to a lion and a tiger, right? The big cats માં ત્રણ વસ્તુ હોય, lion, tiger and leopard, right? It is found everywhere in India. It is also found in the dark black color. It is found in large number in the forest of Gujarat, and it often comes to human settlements. People unknowingly call it cheetah also, right? ઘણા લોકોને leopard અને cheetah માં ખબર પડતી નથી. Leopard અને cheetah બંને અલગ-અલગ છે, right? There is a difference between a leopard and a cheetah, right? This was a part of things to know. Leopard જે છે એ big cat family માં આવે, which belongs to lion, tiger and the leopard. Anyone know the lion, tiger and a cheetah, right? It's wrong. Lion, tiger and leopard, right? આ ત્રણ છે. Moving ahead. Okay, I'll give you one general knowledge also, right, which has not been there in the textbook. An average weight of a lion, एक lion નું एक average weight which is around 280 to 300 kgs. એક સિંહ નું average વજન જે હોય, right, એ 280 to 300 kilos હોય. એવી જ રીતે એક tiger નું weight maximum 420 kgs સુધી જઈ શકે. The weight of the tiger, a big tiger, right, can maximum go up to 420 kgs, right? Average tiger weight 350 to 380 ની વચ્ચે, right? And the average weight of a leopard, જે leopard છે એનું 120 to 160 ની વચ્ચે, right? This is not given in the textbook, but I know, I have researched a little bit in Google, so I know this concept, right? And it keeps on changing. अलग-अलग region માં अलग-अलग tigers હોય, right? એટલે એ પ્રમાણે એમનું अलग-अलग weight હોય. આપણે કેમ humans નું अलग-अलग weight હોય છે as per the physical structure, right? એવી રીતે tiger નું પણ lion અને leopard નું अलग-अलग physical structure પ્રમાણે એમનું weight હોય, right? So the most heavy weight in the big cat family is the tiger. Then it comes the lion, and then it comes the leopard, right? Moving ahead. Next, things to know. Now we are going to learn about cheetah, right? હવે leopard અને cheetah માં શું difference છે જો things to know માં આપેલું છે. First, it is totally extinct from the forest in India, right? બહુ જ ઓછી સ્પીસી માં તમને ચિત્તો જોવા મળે, right? બહુ જ ઓછી સંખ્યા છે in the forest in India. ઇન્ડિયાની વાત થાય, right? The second concept. Today it is found in Africa in its natural habitat. ચિત્તો જે છે એ આફ્રિકાના જંગલમાં જોવા મળે છે, ઇન્ડિયામાં નહીં, right? And the third concept, right? In India it is found in captive states only, that is in zoo only. ચિત્તો જો તમારે જોવો હોય કેવો દેખાય, right, તો એ તમને zoo માં જોવા મળશે. You can only find it in the zoo, right? They are very rare in our country. They are very rare in our country, right? ચિત્તો જે હોય ને એ leopard કરતા પણ થોડો weight માં ઓછો હોય. Leopard is quite strong in the terms of weight compared to a cheetah, right? પણ જો speed ની વાત કરો તો cheetah is the fastest among lion, tiger and a leopard, right? And cheetah can hold the same amount of weight, right, and it can climb up on a tree. No other big cat can do it, right? Suppose if a weight of a cheetah is 100 kgs, તો એ 100 કિલોનું જે ડિયર હોય જેણે એનો શિકાર કર્યો હોય એ લઈને એ ટ્રી ઉપર ચડી શકે. That much strength it has, right? Only cheetah can do it. Leopards, lions and tiger, they can, but it is a very difficult process for them. They are not as flexible as cheetah, right? Cheetah is quite slim compared to leopard, lion and tiger, right? But they have a lot of strength. They have a lot of stamina compared to the other three. They can kill the animal, that means their, their target very easily, and they can climb up on the tree, right, with the same amount of weight they hold, right? આપણું જે weight હોય અને આપણા જ weight નું કોઈ આપણને એમ કે પાછળ ઉચકીને ઝાડ ઉપર ચડો છે, we cannot do it. We cannot even climb the first step, right? You can imagine the particular strength of cheetah. They can easily do all this process, right? If you are more interested in wild animals, you can watch National Geography and the Discovery Channel. There are a lot of informations and episodes which are being there on this particular wild cats, right? Moving ahead. Second project, that is the elephant project. That is the elephant project. This project was started in the year 1992. Repeat નહીં કરું, જેટલા numbers આવે છે જ્યાં જ્યાં બધા વસ્તુ બધા sentence underline કરવાના રહેશે, right? Its main objective was to provide the elephant protection, right, in their natural habitats and to protect the habitants and their migratory corridors. The main theme was to protect the elephants, right? Today there are about 26 protection zones. India ની અંદર આ પ્રોજેક્ટ 26 અલગ-અલગ જગ્યાએ ફેલાયેલો છે to protect the elephant, right, in the country. After the implementation of this project, there has been an increase in number of elephants in the forest. Besides this, project also works for the maintenance of domesticated elephants, right? બીજા અલગ-અલગ projects પણ elephants માટે મૂકેલા છે, right? Food, right? Their grazing area, their water, they require a lot of water, right? Even to bath, even to drink. એ નાના મોટા જેટલા અલગ અલગ પ્રોજેક્ટ્સ હોય જે ફોરેસ્ટની અંદર હોય એ બધા ઉપર સ્પેશિયલ કેર આપવામાં આવે છે, સ્પેશિયલી ફોર ધી એલિફન્ટ્સ, right? Moving ahead, the third concept, that is the rhino concept. This project is started for the protection of one horned rhino in India, right? एक सिंगड़ा वाला rhino, right? In India. In India, most of the rhinos are found in Assam state. Underline the sentence. Most of the rhinos are found in Assam states. They are also found in less number in Sundarban of the West Bengal. Means there are few rhinos even in the Sundarban jungle, that is in the West Bengal. According to the strategy of Rhino Vision 2020, an increase in the number of rhinos is targeted up to 3,000. Is targeted up to 3,000. Government એક પ્લાન બનાવેલો, અહીંયા કોઈ સ્પેસિફિક યર નથી આપેલું કે ગવર્મેન્ટે કયા યરમાં એ પ્લાન બનાવેલો, but they targeted when they started this project, right? That in the year 2020, that means this year, we need 3,000 plus rhinos in India. This was a target which was being set up by the government in the Vision 2020. At least there must be 3,000 rhinos in India. When did this project started? The year has not been given in the text, right? Moving ahead, things to know. Now let us learn something about the rhino, what rhino is. It is seen in the marshy regions of Brahmaputra and Sundarban, that is in West Bengal, right? It is hunted for preparing medicines from its horns, right? In a horn mathi, right? Medicines bane. શું બને? Medicines, right? So it has been hunted for its medicine purpose. અને એનું જે horn હોય એ કાપી લેવામાં આવે અને એમાંથી medicines બને, right? It is a herbivorous animal. Due to the attempts of its protection, its number has increased, right? Herbivorous એટલે શાકાહારી નહીં, right? Sorry, માંસાહારી નહીં, શાકાહારી, right? They eat the grass and the leaves and all that kind of things which are there in the forest, right? And especially it has been hunted, right, for its horn. Why? Because medicines are being made from it, right? So this is all about rhino. Now let's move ahead to the fourth concept, that is the crocodile project. That is the crocodile project. This species of alligators, which is found in the fresh water, was on the verge of extinction in the decade of 1970. 1970 માં આ crocodiles, right, એટલી less numbers માં થઈ ગયા હતા that at one point of time the government thought that crocodiles are no more going to exist on this planet. And all these things were there, that is on the verge of extinction. That is the crocodile in the year 1970, right? The government of India took timely steps to start this project, right? 1970s માં જે ડેટા મળ્યો એટલે તરત જ ગવર્મેન્ટ એક પ્રોજેક્ટ એસ્ટાબ્લિશ કરી દીધું, that is the crocodile project, right? Fifth, vulture project. Vulture is a bird, right? Vulture is the cleanliness worker of the nature. Vultures is the cleanliness worker of the nature. સિંહ અને વાઘ જે શિકાર કરે ને પછી જે વધેલું ઘટેલું પડ્યું હોય ને એ કોણ થાય ખબર છે? વલ્ચર થઈ જાય. તો તમે ડિસ્કવરી અને નેશનલ જિયોગ્રાફીમાં જોતા હશો ને તેમાં બતાવે, રાઈટ? સિંહ અને વાઘ શું કરે? શિકાર કરે, ખાય અને પછી મૂકી દે. And certain portion has been left over there only. Who eats it? The vultures, right? That is why it has been given that vulture is in cleanliness part of the nature. It eats the meat of dead animals. There are about 9 species of the vultures in India. How many species are there? 9. Due to the unusual decrease in its number, this project was started in the year 2004. એમનું પણ એક સ્ટેટિસ્ટિકલ ડેટા પ્રમાણે કેલ્ક્યુલેશન કરવામાં આવ્યું and they came to know the number of vultures are very less in India. So again a new project was started, that is to save the vulture, that is vulture project, and it started in the year 2004. Next, sixth, snow leopard project. Snow leopard project. ચિત્તા નથી, leopard છે. સ્નોમાં પણ લેપર્ડ્સ હોય, એમની જે પર્ટિક્યુલર કહેવાય ને રહેવાની સિચ્યુએશન એ અલગ હોય, અને એ લેપર્ડ્સ પણ થોડાક અલગ. સ્નો લેપર્ડ જે છે એ જંગલમાં જે લેપર્ડ રહે છે એના કરતાં થોડાક અલગ છે, રાઈટ. This species, which is found at an altitude of about 3000 meters in Himalayas, lives in snow only. એ લોકો ખાલી એ જ એરિયામાં રહે, that is the Himalayas, and they are habituated towards that environment only. એ સ્નો લેપર્ડને તમે જંગલમાં મૂકી દો તો they cannot survive. They cannot survive, right? This project was started in 2000 with the purpose to increase the knowledge about snow leopard among the people, that is the local people, so the people would be aware of this project, or the people would be aware to protecting about this project, right? ઘણા લોકો ગેરસમજ કરે છે about the leopards which are there in the forest and about this snow leopard, right? એટલે સ્પેસિફિક નામ આપેલું છે, snow leopard project, right? I hope the concept is clear. This project was started in the year 2000, right? Besides this, other projects which are operational, including Kashmiri Hungul project, about the birds and animals and different species, right? Red Panda project, Manipur Tamil project for the special species of deer found in Manipur, Ganga Dolphin project on Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers, etc. એવા તો ઘણા બધા અલગ-અલગ પ્રોજેક્ટ્સ છે જે બર્ડ્સ રિલેટેડ હશે, જે વાઇલ્ડ એનિમલ્સ રિલેટેડ હશે, which are not given in this textbook, right? But still the plan of the government is to protect the species so they won't be extincting from the nature, right? So it can keep the environment balanced, right? And moving ahead towards the last concept of this particular chapter, that is sanctuaries, national park and bioreserves. સેન્ચ્યુરી એટલે શું એ પણ તમને ખબર હશે, આઈ હોપ. નેશનલ પાર્ક એટલે શું એ પણ તમને આઈડિયા હશે, અને બાયો રિઝર્વ એટલે શું એ પણ આપણે જોઈ લઈએ, વોટ ઇઝ બાયો રિઝર્વ્સ, રાઈટ? બટ સ્ટીલ એઝ અ પાર્ટ ઓફ ઇન્ડિવિજ્યુઅલ ટોપિક વી આર ગોઈંગ ટુ લર્ન ઇન ધીસ ચેપ્ટર. Sanctuaries, national park and bioreserves are established for the protection of wildlife. શું કામ આ બધું એસ્ટાબ્લિશ થાય છે? For the protection of wildlife. All these three words sounds like synonym. હવે તમને ઘણીવાર એવું થતું હશે આ ત્રણે એક સરખું જ લાગે છે, right? But there is some difference. Let's be familiar with them. શું difference છે? Point number 1, sanctuary. Human activities are permitted with certain limits. જો આ બધા points તમારે સમજવા પડશે અને learn કરવા પડશે, right? It can be asked in a difference between a sanctuary and a national park. 2 માર્કનો ક્વેશ્ચન છે, 3 માર્કનો ક્વેશ્ચન છે, એમાં આ કોન્સેપ્ટ પૂછાઈ શકે, right? So you have to remember the points as well as you have to learn the points. શું ડિફરન્સ છે એ ખાસ સમજવાનું છે. Point number 1, human activities are permitted with certain limits. એક્ટિવિટી થઈ શકે હ્યુમન્સની, બટ લિમિટમાં. શેમાં? લિમિટમાં, લિમિટેડ એરિયા. Point number 2, domesticated animals can be allowed to graze. જે લોકલ ડોમેસ્ટિકેટેડ એનિમલ્સ છે એ લોકોને સેન્ચ્યુરીઝમાં એલાઉ કરે ફોર ધ ગ્રેઝિંગ પર્પઝ આફ્ટર ધ પરમિશન ફ્રોમ ધી ઓથોરિટીઝ. એટલે જે ગવર્મેન્ટ ઓફિસર્સ હોય એમની પરમિશન મળે પછી જ એ લોકલ એનિમલ્સ છે એ એરિયામાં, એ સેન્ચ્યુરીમાં ગ્રેઝ કરી શકે છે. થર્ડ પોઈન્ટ, વાઇલ્ડ લાઇફ સેન્ચ્યુરી is established for the protection of some species. The sanctuary can be established by the government after a certain process. Sanctuary કોના કંટ્રોલમાં છે? ગવર્મેન્ટના કંટ્રોલમાં છે, રાઈટ? એક પ્રોસેસ હોય, એ પ્રોસેસ ફૂલફિલ થાય અને પછી એ એરિયાને સેન્ચ્યુરી નક્કી કરવામાં આવે, રાઈટ? Where the main objective or the main idea is to protect the wildlife, right? Again, ફરીથી કહું છું, sanctuary come under the control of the government, right? And the fourth point, Perium, Chandraprabha, Ethurnagaram, etc. are the famous sanctuaries. These are the place of some famous sanctuaries which are there in India, right? Map આપેલો છે નીચેના પેજ ઉપર, but we'll do it on a later on stages. એક સાથે જ તમને આખો મેપનો કોન્સેપ્ટ કરાવી દઈશ, right? So right now you just need to see the map as a part of the knowledge. This name has been given, right? Maps કેવી રીતે યાદ રાખવા, કેવી રીતે learn કરવા, I will teach you, right? એક જ concept માં તમને શીખવાડી દઈશ. It's a very easy process, but not right now, right? And chapter wise અલગ અલગ હશે. I'll make you learn in a very easy concept, right? But on later on stages. So right now you just need to remember the names. That is Periyar, Chandraprabha, and Ethurnagar are the famous centuries, right? Moving ahead, the second concept, that is the national park. Compared to a sanctuary, this is a more protected zone. National park is a more protected zone compared to a sanctuary. More than one ecosystem is included here, right? એક થી વધારે અલગ-અલગ સ્પીસીઝ ના animals, wildlife એ બધું એક જ એરિયામાં હોઈ શકે છે, is included in that area. There is a complete ban on animal grazing. પહેલામાં animal grazing allowed હતું, but after the permission of the authorities અહીંયા ban છે, right? Fourth, it is not centered around one species as it's a sanctuary. એક ફોકસ એક એનિમલ ને કે એક બર્ડ ને ફોકસ નથી કરવામાં આવતું, અલગ અલગ સ્પીસીસ છે, અલગ અલગ વાઇલ્ડ લાઈફ ક્રિએચર્સ છે, બધાને ફોકસ કરવામાં આવે છે અને એક જગ્યાએ રાખવામાં આવે છે, right? It is established through the coordination of central and state government. ખાલી ગવર્મેન્ટ નહીં, સેન્ટ્રલ ગવર્મેન્ટ નહીં, સ્ટેટના લેવલે સ્ટેટ અને સેન્ટ્રલના લેવલે સેન્ટ્રલ, બંનેનું કોઓર્ડિનેશન થાય, mutual understanding project આગળ વધે. That is the national park, right? Kaziranga, Corbett, Velavada, Marine National Park, Gir, Dachigam, etc. are the important national parks. આ બધા names છે. સેના names છે? National parks. Underline the names. Sanctuary and national park, right? Moving ahead. Bioreserve zone. હવે તમે concept જોઈ ગયા હતા, what is bioreserve, right? Of all the animals which are there, right, of different species, that is the wildlife, that is bioreserve. So એનો એક zone છે. Zone means the area. So what it is, let's learn. It is formed according to the international norms. આ કેવી રીતે થાય છે? એક ઇન્ટરનેશનલ કમિટી હોય અને એના જે નોર્મ્સ હોય એ નક્કી કરે અને એ આખા વર્લ્ડમાં બધી જગ્યાએ એક જ સરખા રૂલ્સ એન્ડ રેગ્યુલેશન્સ લાગુ પડે, right? That is known as the bioreserve zone. Point number 2. The purpose is to protect the physical and cultural diversity of any region, right? Point number 3. Besides the vegetation, insects and land of that area, the lifestyle of the people living there is also being protected. બધી વસ્તુ આવી જાય બાયોરિઝર્વ ઝોનની અંદર. એ માણસો, એ એનિમલ, એ જગ્યા, insects, vegetation, lifestyle of the people living in that area is also being protected, right? Special arrangements are created for research and training about the bioreserves, right? Constantly research and training na નવા projects, નવા plans already create થયા જ કરે છે, right? In such proclaimed area, all external human movements are totally restricted, right? ત્યાં કોઈ માણસોની અવરજવર બહુ allowed થવા દેતા નથી. There is a lot of restrictions in the bioreserve area, right? The average area of such zone is larger than 5,000 square kilometers, right? એનું જે એરિયા છે બાયોરિઝર્વનો એ કેટલો છે? 5,000 square kilometers. એ જગ્યા, એ માટી, બરાબર, એ એરિયા, એ એરિયામાં રહેતા માણસો જે પહેલાથી છે, animals, species, insects, vegetation, each and everything in that area, જે નક્કી કરેલો એરિયા છે એની સ્પેસ કેટલી છે? 5,000 square kilometers, right? Next, Nilgiri, Gulf of Mannar, Great Nicobar Sundarban, Panchmadi, etc. are considered to be important bioreserve zones of the nation, right? Underline all the names. And the last, the run of Kutch in Gujarat was declared as a bioreserve zone in the year 2008. Apnu Kutch, run of Kutch was declared as a bioreserve zone in the year 2008 for the protection of its special environmental traditions, right? તો નીચે વસ્તુ આપેલી છે, likes to know. ઇન્ડિયામાં ટોટલ 18 બાયોરિઝર્વ ઝોન્સ છે, 103 નેશનલ પાર્ક છે અને 531 સેન્ચુરીઝ છે. આ ત્રણે ત્રણ કોન્સેપ્ટ આપી દીધા, રાઈટ. હવે ગુજરાતમાં એક બાયો રિઝર્વ છે, 4 નેશનલ પાર્ક છે અને 23 સેન્ચુરીઝ છે, રાઈટ. there is a probability that this can be asked and fill in the blanks, right. લર્ન કરવાનું રહેશે. ઇન્ડિયામાં 18 1 103 4 અને 531 અને 23, that is bio reserve, national park and sanctuary, right. And moving towards the last concepts of this chapter, right. 5 minutes it will take. Developmental process is inevitable, but along with it, it is necessary that we keep in mind its ill effect on the entire life system while planning. Whenever one species is completely destroyed or is in danger, the results of its disturbance in the food chain are far-reaching. Food chain are far-reaching. कोई भी एक species, कोई भी एक particular wild creature એ જે food chain માંથી ઓછું થાય ને, એટલે આખી food chain ને એ વસ્તુ અસર કરે, રાઈટ. આપણી સાયકલ છે એનો એક વ્હીલ હોય, એમાં બધા એરોઝ આપેલા હોય, રાઈટ. આરા કહીએ ગુજરાતીમાં. એક આરો તૂટે, એક એરો તૂટી જાય એટલે એ એરિયામાં જ્યારે પહોંચે એટલે ખાડો આવે એટલે સાયકલ ઇમ્બેલેન્સ થાય, રાઈટ. ધેન અગેન ઇટ ગોઝ, પછી પાછું એ આવે એટલે પાછું ઇમ્બેલેન્સ થાય, રાઈટ. તો એક એરો જો તૂટી જાય તો આટલું ઇમ્બેલેન્સ થાય છે સાયકલની અંદર, તો ફૂડ ચેઇન તો કેવડો મોટો કોન્સેપ્ટ છે. હવે એક સ્પીસી આખી નીકળી જાય એમાંથી, you can imagine how much the food chain concept is being disturbed, right. That is why we have to protect the wildlife resources, right. In food chain, every insect has a specific role, right. If a life is lost, the entire structure experiences disturbance, right. If one species is removed, the natural system breaks down in a long run. એક સ્પીસી નીકળી જાય એટલે જે નેચરલ સાયકલ ચાલે છે ફૂડ ચેઇનનું એ તૂટી જશે, રાઈટ. This effects reaches man very late, hence we are not aware of it. એ indirectly આપણને પણ અસર કરે છે, but on the later on stages. That is why we are not concerned with it, right. Those environment dangers which we are following are the results of the carelessness developed before decades, right. If we have a planned development, there will not be any problem. Friendly approach with the environment is needed of the present day. एक friendly approach होना बहुत जरूरी है with the environment, with the nature, because all these things are a gift of nature, right. And moving towards the last concept for today, that is things to know, right. Henotype. What is an henotype? You can see the image has been given over here, right. Ali vachi jais, right. It is for the general knowledge. This animal lives in the arid and the semi-arid regions having alkaline forests and grasslands, deserts or semi-deserts area. આ બધી જગ્યાએ આ ટાઈપનો એક પર્ટિક્યુલર હેનોટારો જે સ્પીસી છે એનિમલ એ જોવા મળે છે. It lives in the greater and smaller run of Kutch of Gujarat, Banni and in the Narayan Sarovar sanctuaries. It can be identified as it is slightly taller than the fox, has fleshy round mouth and has high ears. It hunts smaller birds and animals. Its existence can be known only by its footprints. And the last thing, that is dugong. This is an aquatic animal. The image so you will have an idea, right? It is seen in very small numbers along the western sea coast of India. આપણી સાઈડ વેસ્ટર્ન સી કોસ્ટ એટલે આપણો એરિયા, રાઈટ, સી કોસ્ટ. Besides, it is also found along the sea coast of East Africa, Southeast Asia coast and the northern coast of Australia. Sea grass and vegetation is its main food, but occasionally it also eats aquatic animals. It is widely hunted for its meat and fat. સુકામાંનું hunt થાય છે for its meat and fat, right. Earlier, this dugong was found frequently along the Gujarat coast. મેં તમને કીધું આપણો એરિયા એટલે ગુજરાત કોસ્ટ, રાઈટ. સ્પેશિયલી અરાઉન્ડ ધ સૌરાષ્ટ્ર કોસ્ટ, એટલે આપણા જે જેટલા એરિયા છે જ્યાં દરિયો છે, રાઈટ, ભાવનગર એન્ડ દ્વારકા એન્ડ ઓલ ધેટ થિંગ, રાઈટ, પોરબંદર એન્ડ ઓલ. This type of aquatic animal was being found, especially along the Saurashtra coast, but today it is rarely seen in the Gujarat coast, right. અત્યારે આનું સ્ટ્રેન્થ, આના નંબર્સ બહુ ઓછા જોવા મળે છે. right? The name is Dugan. So here we finish your chapter number 9. Your chapter number 9. If you have any queries, any questions related to what we have discussed today, you can ask.